In a world where there are too many comic books to keep up with, one podcast has the stones to bring you all of your comic book needs. Week by week, book by book, one epic show. You are now tuned in to Nerd Church Radio.
Hello and welcome to NCR DC Communion, episode number 39. I'm your host, Ben Dupay.
I'm Noah O'Toole.
And I'm Ariel Dupay. We're on 39?
I'm sorry, episode 9. Did I say 39?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, episode 9, sorry. I'm, DC Mass is on 39, I think.
There you go.
So, yeah, I got my head all screwed up. So, yeah, we are your DC comic book overlords here today. Just busy as hell. I've been working on math homework all day. Noah, I'm sure you've been working on homework all day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are you working on?
Mostly marketing homework today. I had a test and 2 quizzes.
Oh, really?
Today. So,
how'd that go?
They went fine. I got a B on my test, which was kind of the big one I was worried about.
Yeah.
And one of the quizzes went better than the others, but, they're 10 points, so you accept it and move on.
I got a math test coming up at midterm, and I haven't taken a math test in years, like 4 or 5 years, so I'm a little worried about, I've been doing okay on the homework, but I don't know if I'm supposed to remember all the formulas or what. I'm sure she'll give us a study guide or whatever, but yeah, man, math is no fun. I hate it. It's just, they say it's applied math. I really don't know how this applies to my real life, but it is what it is. So but yeah, we are a DC Comics fan podcast, so we get together every week and talk about all of the on this podcast we talk about all the monthly releases that come out of DC Comics, and I'm getting back into some stuff lately, so without further ado, we don't really have any mail on this show because we just recorded DC Mass the other day, and we also don't really have any news, so we'll just jump right into the books and get going on those. I'm going to talk about what's one of my new favorite books, actually, is Harley Quinn number 21. I just started reading this on issue 20 a couple weeks ago or a month ago or whatever, and it's been awesome, man. I've loved it. So the creative team on this is Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, and art is by Joseph Michael Linsner and John Timms. So Harley's back in the second installation of the Blast from the Future story arc, and she's ready to kick some Batgirl butt. So at the end of last issue, we saw Harley shoot Batgirl off of a catapult that Harley keeps on a rooftop, which is kind of comical and silly, but also just lends to the whole crazy nature of this book or whatever. So we pick up in this issue where Batgirl has done something in true Bat Family style and shot off a couple of grappling cords to bring her back to the rooftop for her and Harley to square off. But before we get to the all-female fight of the century, both Harley and Batgirl are put to sleep with some kind of tranquilizing gas. So the next sequence shows Batgirl and Harley tied up and being questioned by Red Tool, which is kind of like their way of poking fun at Deadpool or whatever. Kind of like DC hasn't done that enough with Slade Wilson and Wade Wilson,
right?
Whatever. Red Tool's trying to convince Batgirl that the future she's from is not this current Earth's future. He even executes somebody that he says Batgirl's great. It's like her great-great-grandfather or great-great-great-grandfather or whatever. And Batgirl decides to buy what he's selling and tells him that she won't continue to pursue Harley. Turns out Red Tool and future Batgirl are from the same place, a place where you compete to win a trip back in time to kill the girl who eventually kills Batman. So Red Tool agrees to let future Bab stay at her place for the next year until she's teleported back in time to where she came from. And at the end, we find out that Red Tool did not kill the man he claimed was her great relative. So he was just kind of bluffing there. He was just trying to get her to believe it actually was just a taxi driver, so it wasn't even Batgirl's relative. So also we find out that she's not really going to stop pursuing Harley Quinn. So all of these guys are kind of dicks. Like, they're all just lying to each other, and like, you know, whatever. That's what kind of book this is. The last part of this issue shows Harley waking up in her apartment that Red Tool was nice enough to clean for her, and she's lucky that Red Tool cleaned up for her because her parents just showed up from out of town, and she freaks out because her parents are there, and that's one of the things that I'm like most excited about with this book is just to meet Harley Quinn's parents and see what parents like spawn this person or whatever. I think that'll be really interesting. So yeah, what'd y'all think of this book?
I like how normal her parents looked. Like, the dad looks like a normal dopey dad.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they're your typical Jersey family. Expect them to have that accent like she'll have, and you know, be all doting.
Yeah,
I want to see the mom be like, "Oh, honey, put a sweater on."
yeah. I know.
Or tell her she needs some sun because she's so pale or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, I really enjoyed it. I think that, like, my favorite part is just, like, the goofy dialogue and the comic booky stuff, like the catapult on the rooftop, stuff like that. That's just cracks me up, so it makes for a really good read. So we do have a rating system here where we like to rate and review our comic books. I'll play that rating system so you know what we're talking about.
If a comic book is bad, we rate it as blasphemy. If the book is good, we give our blessing. If the book is not bad, not good, but just kind of meh, we rate it as stuck in purgatory. If the book is great, we rate it as holy. And if a comic book exceeds all standards of awesomeness, we rate that book as salvation.
All right, so all that being said, I think I'm going to give this one, what did I give it on the site? I gave it a 7 out of 10 on the site. I guess that's a holy. I don't know. I think it's a great book. I think, like, if you're kind of, like, opposed to this book or think, like, nah, that's not for me, I think, like, give it a shot, you know, pick up one issue, see if it's, you know, something you like, because I think if you enjoy picking up a Deadpool comic every now and then, this is also something that you would enjoy to pick up every now and then, too. I don't know. What would y'all rate this book?
I give it a holy as well.
Cool.
The art's really good throughout it, and even though there's two very distinct artists, you know, you can tell when it switches, they still have a similar style, and it lends as well to the book, and both have a lot to look at.
Yeah.
Panels, you know, there's always just little extra things to see out in the background, you know, like, oh, Harley Quinn's iPod, what's she listening to? Or that's not exactly in there, but, you know, things along those lines and stuff. So,
absolutely.
So it's definitely a fun book, and I like it just because it's out of pace from, like, the normal just straightforward continuity you usually get. So.
Well, it's fun, too. I mean, like, you read Tom King's Batman, it's a good book. I love Tom King's Batman, but you're getting a world full of serious there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you're getting. You're signing up for something that's very introspective and not very fun. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say not very fun, but it's like the spirit of it isn't intended to be fun. So this is just intended to be like a fun Saturday morning serial comic book. So what would you rate this, Ariel?
I gave it a blessing. I mean, it's fun. Like, yeah, what he said was fun. I did like how I love watching Harley fight because she always plays a little dirty. So it's always like, but it always cracks me up to see her fight.
Yeah, I agree. It is pretty fun to watch her fight. And ever since I saw this, I've started playing with her a little bit in Injustice too, and started looking at Harley Quinn statues because I'm building my statue thing or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, wholly on this one, I definitely recommend you checking it out. So we will move things on now. Who wants to go next? I'm gonna let you guys pick tonight.
It doesn't matter. We can go around the circle. I'll go next.
Okay.
All right, good deal.
Any particular one to start with? Let's just go with what I got here. We'll do Aquaman, number 24. Story is by Dan Abnett, and the art is by Scott Eaton and Philip Briones. I think it's pretty funny because I keep comparing this in previous episodes and things to like it's very Game of Thrones underwater.
It is,
and the name of this issue is Crown of Thorns.
Yeah,
which is like, nothing to do with Game of Thrones, but Crown of Thorns. I don't know. It just
it sounds very like
there's
Game
something
of
very
Thrones-y.
similar about it. Right.
Yeah.
So that kind of cracked me up. But so this is called Crown of Thorns, and previously. What's been going on? Aquaman's been betrayed by his own people, basically. The elders have decided that he's too progressive in his leadership, and they've elected a murderer named Coram Wrath to take the monarchy in his place. So we open with Aquaman and Mira discussing the coup and where they stand. Mira feels a connection to Amnesty Bay, which is where the lighthouse is that they lived, and wants Arthur to embrace his connection to the surface world. And Arthur, on the other hand, isn't so sure he's quite ready to give up his kingdom yet, even though Mira tries to persuade him to embrace the happiness they could achieve if they left Atlantis and got married on the surface. And that was kind of one of my favorite parts, because Aquaman and Mira married, and as a couple was one of my favorite things that got erased by the New 52. So the potential prospect of a big aqua wedding had me pretty excited. But we'll see if that comes to pass, because Aquaman can't quite answer yes, and Mira angrily takes off and leaves him alone in his thoughts. Aquaman decides that he is going to hold on to his claim to the throne. The elders have weighed and debated his worthiness to rule, and, no surprise, found him unworthy. Quorum Wrath is now the elected monarch, and when asked if he abides by their decisions or wishes to fight, Aquaman does exactly what you would expect him to do, and he says he wants to fight.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Like, yeah.
The royal guards attempt to subdue Arthur, but he breaks free and flees. Quorum Wrath uses the ancient magic of Atlantis to release something called the Crown of Thorns to encircle and protect Atlantis. The Crown of Thorns is basically what it sounds like, these giant thorny branches that rise from beneath the sea and encase Atlantis.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to me, because it just seems like, I don't know, there I guess there's magic involved, but it feels
Dark
like
magic.
Yeah, he was going through
I feel
the
like he could just, like,
archives of Atlantis and decided to unleash the dark magic.
Yeah.
So,
it feels like if it was just the thorns, like, Aquaman could figure out a way to bust through them.
Right. But they start to enclose, and like it looks like they're going to just completely envelop it, and it's to protect them from the outside world, the humans. And so when Quorum Wrath orders Arthur to be hunted down before he can escape through the Crown of Thorns before it closes, Mira returns to help, but just before he's able to breach the crown, Merc of the Atlantean Royal Guards delivers a blow to Aquaman with a knife that goes clear through him. Mira watches in horror now as Aquaman slowly sinks to the bottom of the sea.
Yep.
And next, we get the Underworld.
And yeah, I think like you could really tell that Merc didn't want to do this, but like he serves Atlantis.
He was very
first.
following orders. I mean, it was very, very matter of fact about
Yeah.
it. He's like, I serve the Atlantean Guard, and I've been ordered to kill you. Stab,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, just that plain and simple.
Straight up.
Did you guys catch all the Star Wars references like throughout the books this week?
I did. Yeah, I caught one in this week. In this book. I was actually going to bring it up to you. I forget what they said.
It's they say you're going down a dangerous path, a path that we can't follow.
Yeah. Okay. That was
yeah.
it. It was just a really small like line. That was
almost
the same.
every book has one. I couldn't find them all, but
Oh,
I wonder why that
didn't know
is.
Yeah.
I know it's awesome though.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I like this book, man. It was fun. Like it's cool to see. They're kind of taking Aquaman down the path of being like the gruff bearded guy, and you can tell them like taking it in that direction already. And I've seen some previews from future books, and I know he's headed there.
I've seen the previews too, and I'm really excited to get a gruffy bearded Aquaman because I do like him, and I also, slight spoiler alert, but it's in the previews, so it's not like it's in in books or anything. But they're going to reintroduce Dolphin, which is a character I loved back from the '90s. It was in in Aquaman, and I've seen her name come up in the previews. Some none other than Dolphin. So I was like, oh yay, this is going to get even better.
Cool,
but
awesome.
So they're going to turn him into a scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
as far as the rating goes, I kind of dig what they've been doing. Game of Thrones was based off of actual, European history and the rise and fall of monarchs and the backstabbing, and I kind of feel like there's, some of that being pulled, into the Aquaman story with just the betrayal and the backstabbing of who wants to rule kingdoms and this and that, and that's interesting to me, and I like kind of the even though it's futuristic, it's still kind of medieval, being Atlantis and under the water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've been really enjoying the book, and for me it was a holy.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a holy for sure. I like the whole king aspect of this, and I the part where I lose it is when they get into politics a little too much, and then it gets boring. But I think they found a nice way to do it here with a coup and everything.
Right.
Actually, thinking about it now, it's kind of interesting because Atlantis is this nation that's apart from the rest of the world and kind of futuristic, and Aquaman's the main character, and he's the king. kind of reminds me of Black Panther and his story.
Yeah.
And we just saw the trailer. Did you see the trailer?
I have no.
It's good.
Been seeing lots of links online and stuff.
Very, very futuristic. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how those two are similar yet different. You know, so it's cool. I like to think of that stuff. So, you go ahead, Ariel. What do you want to talk about next?
Let's talk about Rise and Fall of Captain Atom.
The one book I didn't get to.
Number 6. It's a good one. You should read it.
I started it. I just math homework started. And
Written by Carrie Bates and Greg Wiseman. Artist is Will Conrad and colors are Ivan Nunes. So Ultramax is hunting down the general because he's one of the possible men who turned him over to the police so long ago. We soon find out that it was in fact Ealing who turned him in. He did it because even then Ealing saw what a monster Max truly was. So he was a hitman, he was hired, and Ealing was like, man, this guy's too dangerous. Let's put him out. Tensions are still high since Ealing has been keeping the fact that Captain Atom had a son away from him. But Captain Atom has no choice but to go on swinging because Ultramax is taking the Atom's son hostage.
oh wow!
Yeah, he
So this is the son that he picked up earlier and brought to the military base,
Yeah,
and
but
was
didn't-
flying around in a plane and stuff, but didn't actually tell it.
Yeah,
it
and
was
what
bad.
happened is that he doesn't know it's his son. When they fought, their minds kind of melded for a millisecond, and the guy saw a flash of this kid and knew he was important to Adam, so that's why he got
Oh
him.
wow! Okay.
So, after an explosive fight, Ealing reveals why he really was keeping the son a secret. He believed the kid would inherit powers similar to his father, and it turns out he's right. When the explosion was happening, a kid's body put some kind of outer electric force and saved him. So he has the same powers as his father. The secret won't be kept long as Captain Atom's whistleblowing admirer is already on the case. So during this, someone we don't know is telling Atom all these things. He's the one that told him that Atom had a son in the first place.
Okay.
And Atom doesn't know that the kid has powers. Ealing does, and he wants to keep that a secret too. So.
Oh wow! Okay.
I love
didn't
this
realize
book.
the kid
Yeah.
had powers.
I called it a Michael.
So what's the shot at? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I called it a Michael Bay soap opera, and even though that doesn't sound good, it's really, really good.
It's very if they did this in a movie, it would look like Michael Bay because there would be a ton
Right.
of CGI. What's the shot at the end with the Justice League?
Yeah, the Justice League, they were watching Captain Atom, and I think they're going to ask him to join the Justice League.
It kind of sort of implies
Yeah.
that on the last page.
Which
yeah.
excited me, because this is the end of his story. I don't think we're getting any more.
Well, and this is weird. This picture of the Justice League because Hawkman's
Hawkman's
with
in
them.
it.
and
Yeah,
he's
I
not
know
been part of the Justice League.
Right. It's a pretty epic final picture. I mean, the way he's swooping
Yeah.
down with his wings, I was like, whoa, so cool. But then I was like, but what's Hawkman doing
Didn't
there? to begin
Hawkman
with?
die?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
He always
he's
kinda dies and
reborn.
comes
Oh,
back,
yeah,
but-
that's part of his story.
Yeah, I think that I don't know when that's gonna be, but I do think when Dr. Manhattan comes around and they have to face off against him, I feel like Captain Atom will be one of the people that gets called to arms because his power set is very similar to
Right.
Dr. Manhattan's. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. What would you rate this one?
I give it a 9.5
Okay.
on there, so I guess that's a salvation.
That's pretty much salvation.
You know, you guys give me crap for always giving out salvations, but when a book makes me this happy and I'm this into it, I'm gonna give it what I feel.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, go for it, man. I'm to each their own. Travis gave his first salvation this week.
Oh, good. What did he give it to? Batman?
Superman.
Oh, Superman,
actually.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
which I didn't think it was that good.
I
But
didn't think it was that good.
Yeah. If he
but
did, I guess, yeah.
I don't know. He's a huge Superman fan,
Right.
and I guess Manchester Black meant a lot to him and stuff. So, and the way that has been a really good book too. I mean, I just don't feel like that issue was super strong, but
Right.
it is what it is.
I think it would have been better. Well, I guess we don't really have to talk about it.
What? No, go for it.
The beginning was so short. It's like space aliens, and then you don't really get any exposition on them, really. And I think if maybe a whole issue is dedicated just to them, the elite, I would have been more drawn in.
There's a lot going on in that first
Yeah.
couple pages that it was kind of crazy, but yeah. All right, we will keep things moving on here. Oh yeah, I did want to talk about with you. What do you think of both of you actually? I've talked to you a little bit, Ariel, but what do you think of that proposal with Catwoman and Batman?
Oh, I think it's finally fascinating and interesting. I mean, the rooftops were like one of my favorite stories in recent Batman history. I loved it, and I of course love Catwoman and all that stuff, and the Helena Wayne version of the Huntress is like one of my favorites, just my kind of personal one, because she's the one from Earth 2 that's the daughter of Batman and Catwoman.
We talked about that a little bit on DC Mass, and Travis just said historically Batman and Catwoman have had a daughter that ended up to be Huntress.
Right, Huntress on Earth 2. So, and that's, I don't know, it's just... I'm normally not into the love and the couples and all that stuff, but I like Batman and Catwoman together just because they're kind of bad guy, good guy, bad guy thing. And,
yeah, totally.
And, I think it adds something very interesting to Batman finally that hasn't been done before.
I heard it has. That he's
not married.
Well, I mean, he's of course. I mean, I guess I should say it's been done before, kind of loosely. I guess not really recently. As far as him, really settling down with a romantic partner, or at least that implication.
Yeah, I mean, he's. I don't know. I was saying on the other show, like, I love Batman. He's great, but he's one of the few characters that just hasn't progressed much since he is what he's always been. He fights crime. He's a vigilante. He's dark. He's broody. He had a son, Damian, that ended up just being his Robin, which really isn't changing much. I mean, that's just replacing Dick Grayson or Jason Todd. So there hasn't been a whole lot of change with him. So I think adding a wife to the picture, just like Peter Parker in the comics has changed a lot. He got married to Mary Jane. He had kids, or a kid, so I think Batman could use some of that character development.
I would love to see Catwoman have a daughter. I think that'd be
very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So
name her Kitty.
Yeah. All right, we will move things on here to Bane Conquest number 2. Story on this one's by Chuck Dixon, arts by Graham Nolan. So at the end of the last issue, we find out that Bane had been captured by Damocles. In this issue, we find that he's been thrown into a seemingly impenetrable prison. And who else is in this prison with him? None other than Bruce Wayne, and Bane knows that he's Batman. So the two of them manage to escape after Bane is taken away, tortured for no reason, and brought back to the jail cell. The two of them make it out of the jail cell and into the cold control center of the prison. At the end of the issue, Bruce and Bane both acknowledge that they'll still be enemies after they escape this area. That's all that was in this issue. And I don't know, I really wasn't a big fan of the first issue of this, but I thought it'd get better with this one just because at least now we have Bane and Batman kind of bantering back and forth and having to work together and stuff like that. Still wasn't my favorite issue of the week. I don't think I'm super excited about moving forward with it. I'm not sure even why they're doing this right now. It feels like a really out of place thing to be, because we just did Bane and Batman, and this has nothing to do with that story. So I don't know. It's all right, I guess, for what it is. I gave it a low blessing, but I don't know. Yeah, I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I don't feel like it deserves a purgatory because it did get a little better this week. I don't know. Did anyone else read this one?
I did.
Yeah.
It was choppy.
It's not very exciting.
I wasn't thrilled. Yeah, like you said, I wasn't thrilled about the first one, and the second one, I guess I still kind of kept that same kind of train of thought a little bit. It was and I don't know, the art wasn't bad. It was a little bit more simplistic than some other ones, which kind of sometimes leads to the impression that it's not as good. But
it is kind of overall simple artwork.
Yeah.
And not simple. It's just kind of cartoony, and I don't know, not in a good way either. It's just kind of not much going on.
It's just just wasn't compelling.
Yeah,
art-wise or story-wise to me. So.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I don't think it's enough for me to call it a bad book. I think it's just kind of meh. I don't know. Yeah, I'm at purgatory on this one. I think
I'm with you with what's the point? It feels like I'm wasting my time reading it. I just don't see why it pertains to anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if you're a really big Bane fan, that's
small
the only thing I can
audience, think of, right?
But it has nothing to do with the larger Rebirth story, from what I can tell. There's just not I don't know. Maybe it's just something where I'd be interested to know stuff about this creative team. And maybe it's a new creative team they're given a chance to or something. I don't know. Yeah, because, I mean, this seems like it would be something you would give a new artist or a new writer to try and, like, prove themselves or something. But so far, just not something I'm super into. So, yeah, I'm at purgatory on this one. I really think, like, you could probably go your whole life without reading this, and you'd be just fine. So, yeah. All right, we will move things on. Ariel, you have 3 books this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you go next? What do you got for us?
Deathstroke. Number 20. Writer is Priest. Pencils are Carlo Pagwal. You know, I should learn these names since I say them every week. Inks are by Jason Paz and Sean Parsons, and colors by Jeremy Cox. So this is the aftermath of the Lazarus contract.
Yeah, which a lot of people, I get a lot of talk on Twitter, man. A lot of people were upset that I didn't like this, and they were like, blasphemy, like that's terrible. It's like, dude, the story just wasn't that good. Like, they
like this.
Yeah, a lot of, and I think like the reason a lot of people liked it is because it had such a connection to that old story that was really good. That, like, you know, they that was their story, that was their jam or whatever. You know, that was like Justice League versus Suicide Squad for me, which that's one of my jams. You know, so to bring this back, even if it's a crappy story, which, sorry, in my opinion, it is. Like, people are still gonna feel like they like it or whatever. So I don't know. Yeah, sorry.
So
tangent.
Well, okay. Sorry. I'll do a quick recap. So Dr. Icon is remembering the creation of the iconic zoo. He was a man who loved Jericho and deemed himself a hero. He recalls how and where he first met the deadly Deathstroke, but now he is born again in more than one way. It looks like Dr. Icon's going to take an eye for an eye super seriously. He's only reading the Old Testament. So,
yeah, I was interested your thoughts on this whole Old Testament thing, because you studied the Bible in college.
Yeah, so the scripture was cool, I guess. I mean, so they're talking about how, like, Deathstroke is all changed and he's seeing God, but it makes me feel like I missed something. Like, all he did was travel back in time and he couldn't save his son, and now he's acting like he, like, saw an angel come down and talk to him and, like, change his life forever. It makes me feel like I missed something. People generally aren't born again unless, like, something freaking crazy happens to them. And I guess going back in time and
I think the only thing I can think of is gaining access to the Speed Force is what caused this revelation. But to be honest, that's the thing I like the least about this whole thing, is I just think it's boring for Deathstroke to now be Deathstroke Flash. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's
not Flash anymore, though.
Yeah.
I mean, but, like, yeah, that was one of the things that bored me about the Lazarus contract.
Right.
I will say, Christopher Priest is up for an Eisner Award for Deathstroke for the series, for Best New Series. It's him, Clean Room, Black Hammer, Faith, and Mockingbird. That's some tough competition, because I know Black Hammer and Clean Room are both really
Clean
good.
Room is amazing.
Sorry, I've hijacked your recap twice
Ben.
now. Sorry.
I don't even know where I am right now. So, okay. Slade is trying to atone for his sins. He heads to Tanya's house with a puppy to ask for her forgiveness. Just so you know, Ben, if you ever want my forgiveness, just give me a puppy.
Well, isn't this the girl that he killed her dog?
Yeah.
Power girl.
Like, that, I feel like that's like the worst. Like, if you killed someone's dog, like, the worst thing that you can do is bring them a new one.
That is
be like,
absolutely correct.
Like, just replace it with this one. Like, it's like, you know, if you killed a kid, would you just replace it with, like, you know, it's not the same thing. So,
and then he stalks her until she finally agrees to join his team. And let me talk about this team right now, okay? First of all, there's Jericho, who tried killing his dad, who's Slade slept with his wife, killed his wife, and killed his ex-lover. And then Rose thought she was being a hit. Like, she thought her dad hired a hitman to take her out for the longest time. There's Tanya, who, like, doesn't trust him. And then 2 other people I didn't recognize. But, like, I don't know. The team just kind of came together. There was no really explanation of why he did it.
You're saying there's no Samuel L. Jackson here holding them all together, right? There's
he's Samuel L. Jackson, but he's a sucky one.
Yeah. Well, he has an eye patch, you know.
Well, he was blind for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something that someone can personally email me at ariel.dupay@yahoo.com. and email me about this book, because obviously I'm missing something.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I don't know. It seems like a cool concept. I dig it a little bit.
Like, I feel like there's a good story there. It's almost like it's underneath all this other crap.
Yeah. What do you think about it, Noah?
Yeah, I mean, I flat out personally don't like it.
And why is that?
Well, for lots of different reasons, I'm super disappointed that, like you mentioned, that Power Girl is now just fine with joining his team after he killed her dog and did. I mean, I would beat the mother effer into the ground if I saw him again, and to show up at my door. I know I'm extra sensitive to that, but absolutely not. Are you kidding me? No, it was just no. And the art is really good, but I don't know. I am not drawn to Deathstroke like apparently a lot of people are, and I think the thing that is that people like him because he's one step further on the dark side than Batman is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people kind of like that bad guy. You know what I mean? You kind of Deadpool. You know what I mean? They've just all kind of got this, bad guy kind of thing to them. Anti-hero type thing, and
it's
people,
the anti-hero formula.
I think like digging into the psyche of the messed up person better than your Boy Scout hero, I guess. But I like my good guys good, my bad guys bad, and I don't like Deathstroke, and I didn't really care for this just because the subject matter is off for me, and it's just off for me is about the only way I can put it.
I will say the reason he's up for an Eisner Award for this series is not because of the character Deathstroke. It's because of the way that he's written this story, and it's kind of almost. I've always compared it to Pulp Fiction, where it's like it's not a straight timeline. He jumps around in time, and he has the typeface fonts with the black with the white writing.
It's non-linear,
and it just has a sort of old timey quality to it that I think people like a lot. I don't know heads from tails, man. I don't know enough. I'm still kind of finding my footing here, so I did read this issue, but I don't know enough about it to really say whether I like it or not yet. I mean, it seems like an interesting story to me, I guess, but like I don't know, the whole like this team forming seems like they've kind of shoehorned it in a little bit, like it's just come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. And then like Priest is acting like Deathstroke had this huge change in him. I mean, he had to keep going back in time because he kept knocking out his son because he kept losing his temper. He hasn't changed. He just lost. Yeah. And, like, Priest is acting like there's some profound change that happened in him that's going to change the course of his actions for the rest of time.
It's not very profound from what happened in the Lazarus
contract.
Exactly. I mean, like, he
lost and he's crying about it.
I know. He kept trying to do what he was trying to do, and he didn't have a moment where it was like, I'm doing something wrong here. I should stop what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't accomplish it, and he moved on. Like,
he didn't even apologize to his son for, like, part of the reason he wanted to go back in time so bad, because he was such a horrible father to Grant. And there was never this moment of, like, Grant, I'm sorry. There's nothing. I don't know.
Yeah. So what would you rate this one? Purgatory? I give it a blessing. I'm a new reader. I don't know enough about it yet to hate it. I think if I've I can't hate a book if I haven't read enough of it. Like, it's just in my nature to give everything the benefit of the doubt. So I've only read 2 issues of this. I think it's an alright story, I guess, but I can see where like people have a lot of issues with it. I don't know. Low blessing, I guess. I didn't hate it when I read it. I also didn't fall in love with it. What do you think?
I was kind of torn on this one because I ended up deciding to overall go with like a blessing, but only to be neutral, because I would have gone one step the other way, and I think a lot of people would probably actually say it's a step better than that, and I just kind of met in the middle and said, it's a blessing. Read it, see if you like it. I didn't.
Especially,
you might.
Hurting animals that's a tough thing, man. Like, he's like,
and that's far from the focus of everything, but it just doesn't seem to fit in Power Girl's character development to me that she join a team with this guy after that. And
she didn't even put up much of a struggle.
Not really.
She's like, oh, okay.
And that's the black girl, right?
Yeah.
That's like emancipated. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'll be interested to read more. It's an intriguing book, I think, is the way I want to put it right now. It intrigues me a little bit. I think like the artwork is pretty cool. Who's this Solomon Grundy type character at the end? He's the guy. He's actually wearing a Deathstroke outfit at the end, and he's like stabbing Slade. But it shows him like.
That's Dr. Icon.
Dr. Icon?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. See, I just don't know enough. I can't really even rate it because
the suit. So okay, Dr. Icon, Jericho is Deathstroke's son, and Jericho was in a relationship with Dr. Icon, but Jericho killed him for his suit. So he has the Dr. Icon suit now. But I think Dr. Icon just came back from the dead, kind of. So he's kind of looking for revenge.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, well, we will move things on. Hopefully something we like a little more. So what do you got for us next, Noah?
All right. Well, unfortunately, it's not something we probably liked a little bit more, at least not for me. But we have up next Wonder Woman, the Steve Trevor special. The story is by Tim Seeley, and the art is by Christian Duche. Wonder Woman's boyfriend, Steve Trevor, in The River of Lost Years. And I do have to give a quick shout-out to the title. They called it Wonder Woman's boyfriend, Steve Trevor, in, as kind of a shout-out to those old misogynistic Lois Lane comic books, where it was Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, and she couldn't even get her own Lois Lane. It was always Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane. You know, he kind of got he got top billing even in her own book. You know what I mean? Back in the 50s and 60s. And so this was a clear cheeky nod to those days, and they kind of flipped the switch with the gender roles, and so now it's Wonder Woman's boyfriend, Steve Trevor. And but you know, in all honesty, this book, kind of to quick sum it up, really serves as a bridge to tie the new characters they introduced in Superman, Batman: Dawn of Justice, and the Wonder Woman movie into the comic book series.
Very, very much.
Pretty much. That's
like,
honestly
holy crap,
about it.
like these three ragtag soldiers, it's like they came from the movie.
It's funny, Travis and his wife, they just went and saw Wonder Woman, and they asked me, like, what were the point of those three guys? I was like, read the comic book.
Yeah. And I mean, I actually, as far as the movie goes, and we kind of mentioned it when we had the thing, but I really applaud the three sidekick characters they introduced, because one, she needs a strong supporting cast. She doesn't have a lot of characters besides your Steve Trevor, Etta Candy, that people recognize and have as a supporting cast. And so they took that opportunity to add a supporting cast to her and made it an incredibly diverse cast. And I just think it was really good. And so, I mean, I really applauded that. This book, not quite so much.
Not so much on this one.
So we're introduced to the three characters that appeared in the Wonder Woman's photograph that we saw in BVS and in the live-action movie. Their names are Charlie, Samir, and Chief. Charlie is an ex-British Army sniper who likes to drink and is prone to the occasional panic attack. Samir is a former Moroccan intelligence agent and speaks 24 languages. He's also a con man and a smooth talker. And Chief, despite the fact his name's a little too on the nose for me, is a Native American former member of the Shadow Wolves and a group of smuggler hunters. He could have had a much cooler...
Dances with Wolves.
Right, I mean, even something like, I don't even know, something as some running bear. I mean, I don't know, just there could be something a little bit more cooler than Chief, but it is what it is.
Didn't they call Steve Trevor Master Chief in this?
That's his rank, is Master Chief.
I just kept thinking of
Trevor.
Halo.
And then he also introduced his name. Yeah, I know. He also
that's the main
introduced his middle name as being different. I actually can't remember what he said his middle name was in this, but I've always thought his name was Stephen Rockwell Trevor, and in this he's Stephen something Trevor. But
all right,
yeah. Anyway, Steve Trevor is known as the man who found paradise and brought a little bit of it back with him. Following a brief interaction with Wonder Woman, Steve receives a distress message from his buddies. He rescues them and an old woman from a leather-clad woman known as Saturna and her army of Crimson Men. Charlie, Samir, and Chief tell Steve that when they first met the old woman, whose name is Fatma, 3 days ago, she was only appearing to be 7 years old. After the first night, she appeared to be 60. Fatma leads Trevor and his crew through a series of caverns and caves into this new paradise that appears to hold the Fountain of Youth. After drinking the waters, Fatma de-ages back to a child.
And some of the art on this page, where, Ariel, are you looking at it, where she drinks the thing and de-ages? It looks like the artwork from Reborn that Greg Capullo does.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I just noticed that. It's just
with
kind
of... The lush landscape.
Yeah, and the black background and stuff. Yeah,
cool.
All right, sorry.
Yeah. So it turns out that Saturna and her Crimson Men followed them to the Fountain of Youth.
Dun, dun, dun.
But thanks to some quick thinking teamwork, Steve, Charlie, Samir, and Chief defeat Saturna and leave Paradise behind for a second time, deciding to keep its location a secret from anyone who might try to exploit it. And that's it. And so, now, here we go. Well, I applaud the Steve Trevor special for introducing the diverse group of characters to the Wonder Woman comic, and I do hope they stick around and we see them as continuing supporting characters in her book. That opening scene of the book with Wonder Woman was... I said cringeworthy at best, inappropriate at worst, and out of place no matter how you look at it.
So why inappropriate? Just
well, because she fights a penis monster, and all Steve talks about is sex.
Oh yeah,
and
okay.
I just hated it. I hated it. It was so unfitting. She's like, Steve, when can I have the sex talks with you? And it just
you're
pissed
right.
me
Yeah.
off. And
I read this super early in the morning, so I don't remember a lot of it.
And she's right off the back talking about this, I'll defeat the giant phallic monster, and it's like, oh geez, you have one woman fighting a giant penis. Like that is an I didn't like it, as you can tell from my voice. So
yeah,
she wants the sexual tension.
Yeah, she wants the sexual tension with Steve. And it's just, I'm down with her having romance. I like her being in love with Steve. I'm fine with her and Steve being together and stuff. I mean, I'm not certainly trying to deny her a sexual relationship with Steve or anything like that, but she would not talk like
she's
that.
Classy.
I don't think she's right. Exactly. And it was so cringeworthily out of place for me that it ruined the whole rest of the story.
When do we think this takes place?
I assumed now. I mean, it's kind of the modern.
It's kind of
Steve
weird
with the beard, and
it's really odd to me because, since I saw the movie, in the movie it takes place during World War I,
right?
And Steve Trevor, it's kind of like you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like he can't exist in both times.
The movie had to decide.
Yeah,
yes,
and I feel like the comics have to do that too. I mean, they did the year one story. But then in the other one, like the Liam Sharp one,
mm-hmm.
he appeared to be around the same age, which kind of leads us to believe that Wonder Woman's a little newer. I mean, she's not. I mean, she has to be at least 10 or 15 years, or at most, anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the most ambiguous things about the Rucka series is how much time has passed between the year one story and the current story, and The year one story kind of started out with a really buff, clean-shaven, little pinup boy model of Steve Trevor, and then the newer ones we see, he's much thinner, a little bit more haggard, he's got some disheveled, so I feel like he went through at least 10 years of rough times in between the two.
Veronica Kell's daughter, because she was 10 to 20 now.
You're right. Yep. She went. So I feel like it's got to been at least a decade we're dealing with.
Okay, so this maybe takes place, I want to say, halfway in between.
Something like that. I definitely would put it more towards the current times than the past times.
Some part of me, when I first read this, attributed the way she talked to her being new to this world,
right?
And sort of that fish out of water thing we got in the movie. I just attributed her kind of fumbling around her words and stuff. But if that's not the case, then it's
I think it's just more a case of awkward writing than it is.
That just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't make even more sense to me because Tim Seeley wrote. I know he's a good writer.
I was a little surprised and it's okay. Not every writer can handle every character good,
Yeah,
and maybe he's just better at. The Batmans
and sometimes, man, I mean,
Nightwings and
you
things.
gotta think about the fact that this is their job too. So,
right.
I mess up at work all the time.
Yeah.
So it just is what it is.
Yeah,
but, yeah. All right.
So, I mean, to me, I kind of debated: do I give it the benefit of a blessing? But I just couldn't. It was a purgatory book for me. So
okay, yeah. I don't know. I read it when it was really early in the morning. A lot of this stuff went over my head, and I think I gave it a blessing when I first read it. I'm still at a low blessing, though. I don't think it's quite bad enough to be a purgatory. I think they mistreated Diana maybe in the writing, but I also don't think it was an intentional thing. I just think it was someone just doesn't know how to write.
Poor judgment.
I mean, just poor judgment. I don't think anyone went out to do this, and I think I don't know, it sucks because it's this is probably what the Wonder Woman movie. People are probably going to go out and buy this book. It's
maybe. And I was still the cover's
the only
beautiful.
number one.
Yeah.
So it's but you want to tell people to buy it because you want them to read
because it does
Wonder
right.
Woman.
And it does a good job of. I mean, it does a good job of introducing the three characters. Their story was slightly forgettable, but fine. I mean, the Fountain of Youth and Paradise comparisons. Yeah. I mean, okay, I kind of got behind that, but my smile started to fade as I was reading those opening pages. I was like, oh no, is this what we're in store for this whole book?
I will say, I kind of thought it was sweet when he was I brought a piece of paradise.
That was sweet, yeah.
And it was her. I was oh.
Yeah, there were parts that redeemed for me. I
don't know about redeem, but that moment was.
There were moments that were good. Yeah.
I mean, there were a couple. I don't know if it completely outweighed the bad to me, but I mean, it was enough to. I don't know. I didn't hate it.
They kind of did it in the movie with the sex thing. She was because she read about sex or whatever, and like.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that was the right way to do it.
A lot better in the movie.
Right, yeah. I'd say to me that was the right way to do it, to have the Wonder Woman sex talk.
Yeah.
And this was the wrong way to have the Wonder Woman sex talk. So,
exactly, yeah. Well, I do have to ask you, actually both of you, I guess, but more towards Noah, just because you're a huge Wonder Woman fan, lifelong Wonder Woman fan.
Right.
So a lot of people have said that Greg Rucka, like, his only mission in writing Wonder Woman was just to wipe out Azzarello's run from the books, from the history books. What do you think about that thought?
I get a similar impression, and I can't say that if I were in his shoes, I wouldn't have done the same thing. And I don't like to look at it as that he wanted to wipe out the Azzarello run. I look at it as he looked to restore Wonder Woman to the more original way William Moulton Marston wrote her and introduced her, I think, as a feminist character in the early, of her character.
Because you're Greg Rucka, man. Like, you come into New 52, you come into Rebirth, one of the reasons they wiped out New 52 was Wonder Woman. I mean, like, the way she was written, like, just a total dickhead. Like, I mean, like, not to say that about her, but, like, that's the same thing they did with Supes. Mm-hmm. I mean, they kind of bastardized Batman, too. I mean, Superman and Wonder Woman were just, they flew off the handle. They were quick to get angry. They weren't using hope. And the reason they wiped all that out was to bring the hope back into the comics. You know, they wanted Wonder Woman to be like a symbol of hope again. So I feel like you kind of have to do that. You know, you have to wipe out that old stuff.
It kind of sucks though, because with the Azzarello run, it was very mythology heavy.
Mm-hmm. And there were some good parts.
There were some my favorite parts about Wonder Woman is all the mythology, and Rucka kind of put some in there, not nearly as much.
And I don't think I think she was written pretty well in the Azzarello run. I think a lot of it was the treatment of her in the Justice League run.
Yeah,
like the way she acted in that.
Yeah, there was definitely that. But I mean, the thing is, for me a little bit was just the whole. They focused on war and fighting and swords and things like that. And I feel like Rucka went back to the lasso and passive things. Let me help you through love, and and
that's one of the things
like that. And to me, that's who Wonder Woman is as a character, not the new god of war. I mean, that was an interesting story. It was fun to read, but I like
the one who
goddess of peace better.
She solves a problem just by telling someone she loves them.
Right.
And that's that's who Wonder Woman's supposed to be to me, is she always chooses loving words over a fight. That's so I don't know. I love Rucka's run though. I know a lot of people have complained about it. It feels like you're either one way or the other on it. From what I hear about it. So you got one more book for us, Ariel. What do you got?
Cyborg number 13, written by John Semper Jr., pencils by Alan Jefferson, inks by Tony Cordos, and colors by Guy Major. So, the girls are out tonight. Oh, and so is Black Narcissus. No?
Black Narcissus?
No?
What?
No? Okay.
I
feel like...
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Oh my God.
I read it.
Well, no, because her boobs are just out. So I said the girls are out.
I get it. Yeah, that first splash page. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We need some cricket sounds.
I'll insert in order.
We learned how she's able to obtain some advanced technology for her superhero outfit, and ever since she's been protecting the streets of her beloved city, Detroit. But her real objective is to take down Firewire. I love how all these, they always make the bad guys, some kind of stupid name.
Yep. With a stupid spelling, because I love that they took the time to spell it all with a Y, because if you were to say that, my name's Firewire. That's with two Y's.
Yeah, not one, but two. Yeah. I do like the naming of some of these villains in this book, though. It's kind of like Harley Quinn to me. It's just so silly that
part of it is
like malware, and it's comical to me.
So this new bad guy is a ninja who has a sword that's able to distort time and space. So when Cyborg fights him, he has no luck because he keeps getting nauseous, I guess. It's
all some Doctor Strange type
stuff,
it's
so weird.
It really messes with the fabric of reality.
It threw me off because it's are they in space? No, they're not.
It's almost like they hit another dimension or something.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Sarah is trying to enlist the help of Cyborg to help stop Anomaly. Yes, of course she figured out that wasn't the real Dr. Stone. But in turn, she accidentally landed Cyborg into a trap. Now with the help of a voice only he can hear, Anomaly unleashes a threat that can end humanity as we know it. The Singularity. It's okay, you know.
It really wasn't bad. I mean, like, I jumped into this one and I was I almost like cringed a little bit when I started reading it because I loved Cyborg when it first came out. I slowly started to hate it, and this wasn't that bad. I mean, it was fun.
See,
I don't know.
I really liked Black Narcissus, but she almost overshadowed the main character. Like, I prefer her over Cyborg.
That's funny because that's pretty much exactly what I was going to say. Was I actually love Black Narcissus and I want her to have a book and screw Cyborg.
Yeah,
I thought she was cool as hell.
It's hard not to overshadow Cyborg. I mean, like he is always the toughest sell of DC characters. Like, and it's not because he's black. It's because he's just
not that great.
It's hard to make him.
It's really hard to write, man. He's like 80% robot. He's not very much human. It's the same reason RoboCop wasn't that popular. I mean, it was popular, but it's not the huge thing like Batman or Superman is.
And I kind of talked about this. I was thinking about what makes superheroes so connectable, and they all have like cities that they love. Superman has Krypton, Batman has Gotham, Wonder Woman has the Mascara.
Yeah.
Cyborg's not connected to anything except like the Watchtower, I guess. So they kind of talked about maybe him staying in Detroit.
I say Detroit. I always kind of consider it.
Yeah, and I would like to see him more grounded and not face like these huge monsters, like some bad guys in Detroit, and make him more connected. And the reason I liked Nexie and Black Narcissus, it kind of brought a human quality to him. So I think his character got a little bit better in this issue.
I feel like you could write a Cyborg book and almost make it like an Ex Machina type thing where it's like explores AI and what we define as AI and when it crosses that lines of humanity.
That'd be cool. I'd kind of like to see in that, I don't know, I just maybe it's due to his age and stuff, but I'd like to see him tackle like more social issues, inner city things that he'd encounter in Detroit and things. I just think that would add a more relatable aspect to him. But.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, we have his connection. He's always missing his mom, and I think that's what the author really tries to hone in on to make you connect. But it happened so long ago, it's like hard to.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I gave it a blessing. It wasn't bad, but.
Yeah, I give it a blessing too. I think it was fun. I always take these books with a giant grain of salt and just try and have some fun with them. You know,
I will say
I'm not expecting an epic here. I'm just like, whatever.
This Anomaly storyline has been going on for so long. I just want a conclusion.
Since day one.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, this is what they. I mean, Malware was the very first villain, and he was sent by this guy. So
I'm kind of hoping it kind of ravels up.
When I jumped back in here, I was like, man, is his father still kidnapped?
Yeah, I know.
Holy
Right?
cow, like, we've been going on this for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping, because DC is going to have to cancel some books here pretty soon, and I'm really hoping Cyborg doesn't get the axe. I want to see him get a good story, and I want to see him keep having a book, because he's an important character, and I don't want to see the movie get wiped out. I want to see it happen.
So, kind of going off subject and backtracking back to Bane Conquest.
Yeah.
I was so sure you were going to ask me if they were talking Spanish that I actually went in and I looked up what language it was and what they said. When the three guys are talking.
Yeah.
And they like.
Oh, when Batman and Bane were talking?
Yeah.
Well, they were switching
Portuguese?
languages.
It's Norwegian, Arabic, and French, and Vietnamese.
Yeah, they were switching languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're both really smart.
But I was so sure you're going to be like, what are they saying in Spanish?
No, because I knew they kept switching languages. So, yeah, you figured it out. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's all we got for you guys this week. We did get some mail from someone. Noah, you'll have to hear it if you listen to our other show.
Yeah.
It was really nice mail, this guy. Guy, did you hear it? Or,
I
sent it in the Slack.
Yeah,
we have a Slack group now. So we got some nice mail. We do like to get that mail. If you guys want to email us, you can do so at nerdchurchradio@gmail.com. We also have a Patreon. If you want to, help us keep the lights on. Really what that means is just, help us pay for our hosting costs, help us in sort of, getting some merch together for you guys. We really want to print some t-shirts, so I'm saving up for that. You can help donate to us. That's at patreon.com/nerdchurchradio. Ariel, Noah, and I write reviews for all the comics every week, and those go up on Wednesday at They go up on Wednesday at midnight. So check that out at nerdchurchradio.com. And if you want to find me anywhere, I'm on Twitter at IndieComicBen. Noah, where can we find you?
You can find me on most social media sites at Noah O'Toole.
And Ariel.
I am on Twitter at Ariel the Oracle. And also, if you like Deathstroke, please email me at ariel.dupay@yahoo.com and tell me what I'm missing.
Yeah, for sure. Do it. We love to interact with you guys. So that's all we got for you this week. Have a good week, everyone.
Bye.